Yesterday in class, we left off with Theorem 512. And this theorem said that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side, which means that when you add two sides of any triangle, when you add those two, that sum has to be greater than the third side. Right now, I'd like to go to example 3, please. Example 3. A triangle has one side of length 14 and another of a length 10. Describe the possible lengths of the third side. So, we have a triangle here. One side is 14. One side is 10. The other side, we don't know what it is. We'll call that x. So we want to describe the possible lengths of the third side. So, what is a possible length of the third side? What is one possible length of the third side in this triangle here? Sarah? 5. How'd you get 5? Okay, so if x is 5, that means which side of the triangle is the longest side then? Dan? 14. So that means one possibility for x is that 14 is the longest side. And if 14 is the longest side, then what has to be true? If 14 is the longest side, Killian? No. Kellen? How'd you get it? Okay, so we know that 14 has to be less than x plus 10. These two sides added together has to be greater than 14. So subtract 10 from each side. So 4 is less than x, or x, as Kellen said, x is greater than 4. So one possibility is 14 is the longest side, and if 14 is the longest side, then x has to be greater than 4. Now, what's another possibility? Nicole? That x is the longest side. Very good. Now, if x is the longest side, what has to be true, Dan? We're trying to make it more specific right now. Okay, we're going to make it more specific right now because we're saying x is the longest side. So, Dan, if x is the longest side, what has to be true then? No. If this is the longest side of the triangle, what has to be true about this triangle? No, Lauren, sorry. Sorry, x is what? X is less than 14 plus 10. These two sides added together has to be more or greater than x, if x is the longest side. So x is less than 14 plus 10. So x is less than 24. Because 14 plus 10 added together has to be greater than x. So x is greater than 4 and less than 24. If I wanted to graph that solution, how would we graph that on a number line? How would you graph x is greater than 4 and less than 24? Molly? Okay, so we have 4 and 24, and then what? Shade in the middle like that? Do something like that. Killian. Very good. Remember, when it's not equal to, it's an open circle, line in between. That's what you'd be looking for there, to graph that solution. So x is greater than 4, less than 24. Okay, so in these problems, you make 14 the longest side, and then you make your unknown the longest side. And that gives you your two restrictions on that side. So when it says describe the possible lengths, well, x is between 4 and 24. Right now, I'd like you to turn in the back of your note packet, please, to 5.5a. And I'd like to look at problem number 19. 5.5a, 19. Now, this problem is different in that instead of just having x, one variable there, we now have a whole expression, 2x plus 2, on that side. So, once again, we want to describe the possible values of x. So, what are some possibilities we have here, Kara? Either one, doesn't matter. Very good. We have 12 as the longest side. So 12 is less than. These two sides added together have to be more than the third side. 8 plus 2x plus 2. And now from here we solve for x. Combine like terms. 8 plus 2, that's 10. Subtract 10 from each side. Divide by 2, so x is greater than 1. So that's one possibility, where 12 is the longest side. Tyler, what's the other possibility?
2x plus 2 is the longest.
Very good. 2x plus 2 is the longest side. So if 2x plus 2 is the longest side, then what's the inequality we have now? Colleen. Very good. 2x plus 2 is less than 12 plus 8. 12 plus 8 is 20. Subtract 2 from each side, so 2x is less than 18. Divide by 2. X is less than 9. So x is between 1 and 9. X is greater than 1 and less than 9. And looking at a number line, how would you graph it, Edmund? Oh, go ahead. Question, sorry.
Please pardon the interruption. This is Baumgartel. Please call 1461.
When you said it could be in between 1 and 9, could it be any number like 2 to 8? Or
It could be 1.5. Well, it can only be between 1 and 9.
Yeah, I know that, but
I'm just not sure what you're asking. Are you sure?
yeah.
All right, Edmund, how would I graph this? Is that what you're saying? What? I don't know. What were you saying? Is that how you graph this? Then yes, you're correct. Good. Open circles on 1 and 9, line in between. X is between 1 and 9. Is that better? X is between 1 and 9. Questions on that?